Welcome back, everyone. When this video publishes, it is 2 days prior to Thanksgiving and the start of the holiday season. The holidays are a time to celebrate, and I'm here to help those celebrations run seamlessly. But in order for those celebrations to run seamlessly, we have to be in a good place with ourselves and maybe with a potential trigger that will be at the celebration. We all know that if we're not in a good place, it's going to affect our attitude and could potentially affect our behavior. Welcome. I'm Tracy Hensel. I'm a certified professional coach, motivational thinker, and speaker. I help people see and live their potential, to see meaning and purpose in who they are and what they contribute to themselves and others, to optimize the now. Well, to optimize the now, we need to check in with ourselves. We need to know our triggers and what pushes our buttons and how we are going to choose to show up this holiday season as we gather with family and friends. Today, I share 10 behavior best practices to take with you this holiday season. Tip number 1, if the host does not greet you at the door, always go find the host to say hello upon arriving. From there, say hello to the other guest. Tip number 2, refrain from showing up at any party or gathering with low energy. No one wants to have a conversation with a downer. People will avoid you if they think you're in a bad mood. And we already know to have good posture when standing, when sitting, when talking with others. But check your facial expression. Before you enter the party or gathering, check your facial expression. You'd be amazed how many people do the lip purse body language. When you purse your lips tight and closed, like a lot of people do, it reveals to others anger, frustration, disappointment. It's all negative energy. Pay attention. The people that are charismatic and are likable and good conversationalists usually walk into a party, they're in high spirits with a positive attitude, and their mouth is slightly open with a little bit of a smile. So check your facial expression at the door. It's a big one many don't think of. Tip number 3, be engaging and conversational with guests, as well as polite and appreciative. Good conversationalists know the art of carrying on a dialogue with someone else, and they know that people like to talk about them. So don't make your conversation about you. Avoid using I as much as possible. When we overuse I and talk too much about ourselves, it comes off as egotistic and it's not received well by others. Always remember, pride tells you to talk, humility tells you to listen. Most people, when they're listening to someone else talk, their wheels start spinning and they're thinking about what they are going to say back. Be a good listener. Listen with intent. Don't listen so that you can speak back. You'll get your opportunity. If someone shares something with you exciting going on in their life, acknowledge and validate what they just said. Even if it's something that you can relate to or you've done this before, you don't just chime in sharing that you've done this or you've taken that trip. Again, avoid using I as often as possible. A good conversationalist knows to always ask about others. Tip number 4. Avoid starting or engaging in conversations about sensitive topics or a topic that could trigger a response out of someone. Again, you want to be well liked. You want to be received well by others. Avoid talking about politics. Avoid talking about your health unless asked, and then move on very swiftly. And be careful what you share. Make it brief and only if someone asks. It could be as simple as, my health hasn't been great lately, but how are you doing? right? Toss the ball back. If you want to be good at getting out of a conversation, always ask the other person about them. That's always a shoo-in. It is a great tip to keep in your back pocket. You can always direct a conversation just by asking someone else about them, especially something that they would have high energy to talk about. How's your grandchildren doing, right? They're going to love being asked a question like that. Talking about your health at a family gathering or at a party with friends just is a no. It's a faux pas. Don't ask a family member or anyone else when they're getting married or when they're going to start having a family or any other invading questions. Just don't do it. It used to be acceptable many years ago. That's what people did, but it's no longer acceptable. So just zip it. Do not comment on what is on someone's plate, how much is on their plate. Mind your own business and your own manners. Do not talk about weight. Don't talk about your weight. Don't talk about someone else's weight. If you notice someone has lost a significant amount of weight, all you need to say is, "You look amazing." Just tell them you look amazing. If they decide to share, that's up to them. And if they do, keep it brief. Talking about weight at a celebration when people are eating celebratory food and drinking celebratory drinks is not the time or place to talk about weight, weight loss, weight gain, or anything to do with body weight. Don't poke fun at guests. Say something embarrassing or make another person look bad. At the end of the day, the only person that's going to look bad by doing that is you. And what happens is, if I make you look bad, I look good. A lot of people come from that lens. They will tear other people down or share an embarrassing story or make someone just look bad because if you look bad, I look good. We can't both look good, right? And that's low self-esteem. And that's something you'll want to work on. The only person that is going to look bad by making someone else look bad is you. It is your obligation to be a good guest, and a good guest never draws negative attention to themselves. And that takes us into tip number 5. Do not bicker with your partner, your spouse, your significant other, your children, or anyone else at the party or gathering. Respect that everyone has different views and opinions, and that's okay. It's not a power struggle. If you need a power struggle, it tells more about you than it does them. If you've practiced believing people when they show you who they are, you shouldn't be triggered. Right? I talk about this all the time. I have videos where I talk about believing people when they show you who they are. It amazes me sometimes when people will say, "I can't believe that they did that." Well, have they done it in the past? Yeah, they always do. Well, then why can't you believe it, right? People don't change unless they want to, and we have no control over that. We only can control and manage ourselves. So believe people when they show you who they are. If someone has a view that they often have to spit out and it triggers a response out of you, let it go. Move on, right? You can always remove yourself and go to another area with other people. Most gatherings are large in size, and you have that option to step away and go do something else. People have to go to the bathroom, right? If you need to go in there and shut the door for a few minutes to cool down, go ahead. And let's throw alcohol in the mix. If you're drinking and you get a little bit of that liquid confidence and you know from the past, check yourself. Have I in the past gotten this liquid confidence and said things that I later regretted that maybe I thought about the next day? A good rule of thumb is if you've ever thought in your head or ruminated on something you said or did, your behavior, your attitude, how you showed up, how you treated someone or made someone look bad, if you ruminated on that the next day, that's a sign. And often alcohol can get in the mix. If you can't manage your alcohol, don't drink. Save it for when you're alone. How do you want to be remembered, right? How do you want to be remembered by others? Leave people better than you found them. You're never going to wake up the next day and say, boy, I wish I would have told that person, right? Leave people better than you found them. You're always going to feel good by taking the higher road if you're in a situation where some buttons get pushed or there's some triggers. At the end of the day, hopefully this doesn't happen, but I work with a lot of clients that have compromised relationships, and while they love to see most people at their parties and gatherings, often there may be one or two that they just really dread spending time with. Well, don't spend time with them. There's plenty of other people that you can engage in conversation with, that you have more interests that are similar, and it can be more fruitful. If you have allergies, food dislikes, or are on a strict diet, keep that to yourself. A polished and poised individual does not talk about these things at a party or gathering. Do not announce to the whole room that you only eat wild-caught fish, organic food, or that it's not your favorite. Do not ever say the words eating clean. A party is a celebration with celebratory food and drink. This is not a time to share all your little eating styles and patterns. Again, it is your responsibility to be a good guest, to show up polite, poised, appreciative, and with class and sophistication. A good guest does not draw negative attention to themselves. Just zip it. Tip number 7. Parents, talk to your kids on this one. Do not be the first to jump in the buffet line if it is a buffet line at the gathering that you're attending. This is such a pet peeve of mine. I will see teens and young adults do this all the time, and I don't hold it against them because I truly believe they just don't know, right? A lot of things that people do that come off as rude, I don't necessarily see it as being rude, because to me, rude is when you purposely do something, you know you're doing this, but often people don't know what they don't know. So when I see a young adult, a teen or a tween, jump in the food buffet line before anyone else, I really have to believe they probably were never taught. So parents, talk to your tweens, talk to your teens, talk to your young adults. I see this with people in their 30s, and they simply just don't know. So do not be the first person to jump into the buffet line. Unless the host comes up to you directly and says, honey, go ahead and get started. Then you have the cue, go ahead and do that, or say thank you, and then maybe the person next to you say after you, right? After you. Make it your goal that you're not the first person in line. Elders should be the first person to go through the line. So if the host says, go ahead everyone, it's time to dig in, help yourself, maybe look around the room and see if there's anyone that you can go up to and say, hey, would you like me to help you? Or can I help you? Or direct them to the buffet line, okay? Do not be the first person in line. Tip number 8 to being received well at your holiday gatherings. This one is not so much about behavior. It's more about what you're putting out on the outside, but it's very important. And when you go to the videos where I talk about how to be a proper guest or proper etiquette, I have a lot of proper etiquette videos. I cover all of these there, so please watch those videos, especially the 20 tips on being a good guest. That one will dial in on everything. I'm going to run through these. Avoid chewing gum. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't show up with gum in your mouth. Don't chew gum while you're at the event, the party, the gathering. Don't put a piece of gum in before you're leaving or after you get done eating. Avoid chewing gum altogether. I know many people believe that they chew with their mouth closed. Well, believe it or not, most people don't chew with their mouth closed, even with food. Yes, you'd be surprised. About 90% of people actually chew with their mouth open, even though they don't know that they're doing it. And that's because most people breathe out of their mouth. So when they chew and they're chewing up their food, they open up their mouth. Well, other people can see what's in your mouth, and it also makes a sound. And you will hear people with their little, and that's because they're opening their mouth to breathe. So they mean well, they don't realize it. Now all of you are going to be paying attention at Thanksgiving, listening for that sound, and you'll hear it, believe me. And now you'll probably start to be a little annoyed by it because now you know what you know. But back to the gum chewing. You may think no one sees that gum, but if you're engaging in conversation with, if you're at a party or gathering, you are engaging in conversation. You'll push that little green or blue bugger to the back and to the side. But believe me when I share with you, when you talk, we can see that, and it's not attractive. It's not attractive at all. It's very childlike, it's very juvenile, and it does not come off as polished and poised in the least bit. To me, and it has nothing to do with being a great person. I'm not talking about that, but it just takes that whole presentation down so many layers. Avoid chewing gum. I'm going to end it there because I could go on and on how often I see this. You would think I wouldn't need to share this, but I do. Avoid blowing your nose or cleaning out your nose at the table. I know you're thinking, do people do that? I'd love to tell you they don't, but they do. And I am around this. I've witnessed this. I've witnessed this in the last several months. Now I get it. Most of us eat by ourselves, or we eat with our partner, our spouse, our significant other, our children. And we know that we can be more relaxed and do these things. But what happens is now you've formed this habit, so you're no longer aware. I get that sometimes a sneeze comes out of us. Achoo! Right? And that's what you would do. We can't control that. That is outside of us. But what I am witnessing and what I am talking about is when people literally blow their nose at the table where other people are eating. And worse yet, yes, they take tissues and they clean out. They go into their nose, they bring it out, and then they look, and then they fold it, and then they go up and get some more, and then they look, and then they fold it, and they go get some more. It is the most disgusting thing to witness. And I see it from grown adults, from grown adults older than me even. So this is going to be a really hard habit to break. Get up, excuse yourself, go to the powder room, go to the restroom. Every single house party has a powder room. Every single dining establishment has a restroom. Every venue space has a restroom. If you sneeze and it comes out of nowhere, I get that. We're all human. It's going to happen. But to deliberately blow your nose or clean your nose out, excuse yourself, don't say anything to anyone, go to the powder room or the restroom and take care of your boogie business, okay? Yes, your boogie business. This is a no-brainer, but do not spend time on your phone, right? I feel like don't even have it out. My shoo-in is I always carry a small clutch to anything that's a party or a gathering. And I always put my clutch on my lap and my napkin goes over top of it. My phone is, if it's out, it's still going to be under that napkin, but I don't want it on the table. And I understand some of you have small children, just like I have small grandchildren. So as parents, you do need to check your phone periodically, but I feel like going off to the side to check your phone is appropriate. When you're engaging in conversation, to be checking your phone while there's a conversation going on, it just does not come off polite and polished. Don't have it on the table and just stay off your phone. But that should be an easy one as well. Again, I have videos about this. Here's another one. Do not come, and I just thought of it because I have a whole video on this. Do not come waltzing in to any party or gathering with your water canteen, with your tumbler, with your Stanley. And I know I'm going to offend someone. I'm not against the Stanley. I'm not against your water unit, your water canteen, right? But do not carry it into a party or gathering and set this big honking neon pink or whatever, camouflage, whatever you have. It's disrespectful. It really is disrespectful to the host. Yes, it is. It's an eyesore. So don't do it. Please, just don't. And I have a video on that. This one is more for the ladies. Blot your lips before drinking from a glass or a cup. A good rule of thumb is when you arrive, if you have not already blotted your lips on the way, often I will do my blotting before arriving, but a lot of parties is more of people engaging in conversation prior to eating, so I may leave my lips as is. So they would look just like this, which you see some shine, some gloss. Well, I am going to leave a massacre on a glass or a cup with this lip. So when it's getting close to eating, and I can tell we're going to start eating, but often by then I've already been drinking something, really upon arrival and saying hi to everyone, I'm going to excuse myself, go to the ladies' room, take some tissue, blot, don't rub, just blot, then fold it over, blot, fold it over, blot, get another one if you need to. Blot until you see no more blot. Believe it or not, your lip color will stay. It'll be more like a stain. And you don't have to worry about anything transferring because you're left with a nice lip stain. Then you can go out and eat, drink your beverage, and no one will need to see that lip on your glass or cup. And also, just another tip on being polished, avoid drinking from a bottle. Avoid drinking from a bottle or a can or even a water bottle. A lot of parties and gatherings, you'll see the disposable throwaway water bottles, which are great for parties. If you can avoid drinking from anything bottle, can, or water bottle, get a cup or glass. Hopefully, if it's a nicer party, they offer glasses. A lot of larger gatherings will have your plastic cups. Pour your drink in there. It just looks more polished and poised. Now, if it's not offered, I get that. Don't worry about it. But when you can, drink from a glass or a cup. It just looks more polished, poised, and sophisticated. Another one for the women. Avoid going too heavy on the perfume. Yeah, there's a lot of women and men. This is actually for both. Men and women. Avoid overdoing the perfume or the cologne. I love a nice smelling man and I love a nice smelling lady just as much as the next. Not that everyone does, but I have a great appreciation for a nice smelling gentleman and a lady. But if I can smell it from across the room or kitty corner, it's too much. When someone gives you a hug and embraces you, it's so nice to get that scent and it's not overbearing. Or if you're seated next to me on either side, I may get a slight hint of that scent and it's beautiful. But if we're at the banquet tables or a round table and I can smell it, it's too much and it's too much for others. So go light on the fragrance when you're going to be close up in proximity with other people. Tip number 9, know when to leave. This is paramount. You may think that you're life of the party, but I wouldn't bet on that. A good guest knows that there is a time to exit, and if you're the last one exiting, that could be a problem. And again, that's where alcohol could play a role. So know when it's time to leave. Try to avoid being the last person to leave unless obviously you're close family and you're helping to clean up. That's not what we're talking about. You apply these tips how they apply to your situation, but yes, know when to leave. And last but not least, tip number 10. As a guest, take a moment to show your appreciation and gratitude. Hosts go to great measures to host these parties and gatherings. A lot of time, a lot of money goes into hosting for other people. They are placing value on detail to make it special for you. Within 48 hours of you leaving the party or gathering, a handwritten thank you is essential. Not a text, not an email. If you want to send a text the next day, that's perfectly fine. But within 48 hours, you've dropped a handwritten thank you note into the mail. And in that handwritten note, remark on special details that made the evening so wonderful and memorable for you. That will go a long way. And I leave you with this. When I talked at the beginning of this video about how we show up and how that is a choice, regardless of the circumstances, you always have the choice to dim a room or light a room, right? And if you light a room, you're leaving people better than you found them. So my message to you as I close, be a light. Be a light. And this one I want to read because I don't want to miss anything that I typed here that I wanted to say. As much as you might wish to choreograph a perfect holiday gathering, who doesn't? You probably know deep down that the only person you can control is yourself. With awareness, preparation, and discipline, you can, in fact, be the light no matter what else is swirling around you. And when all else fails, there's always refuge behind the locked bathroom door on the second floor. So I leave you with that. Go out, be poised, polished, show up with class and sophistication this holiday season. How do you want to be remembered? And that will be all up to you. That's within your power. Step into it. Lean into it. Yeah. All right. Well, have a happy Thanksgiving and a wonderful holiday season. Be sure to check the video library that's linked in the description box below this video, as well as on the corresponding blog post. Always your top link, and the best place to go. In addition, the Christmas gift guides all are out there. They've all been published. The men's Christmas gift guide, the ladies luxury gift guide with gifts over the $50 price point, the $25 to $50 ladies gift guide, and the under $25 ladies gift guide. The whole library will be linked. I had a video last week where I talked about budgeting and communicating to others. If you want to step back or do some different modifications, check that video out. Everything that I've been sharing with you recently, they will all be linked. Check the videos out, but have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a happy holiday season.